Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Reeti and today we would be discussing on top SQL questions which are oftenly asked in interviews, placements and semester exams. So in the last video we learnt about SQL from the very basic to advanced in one shot. So if you want to see that video you can go ahead and watch it out. The link is in the description. Now let's start with top SQL interview questions. So the very first question is, we have to write a SQL query first to create a database company, second to create a table employee in it, and third is we have to delete or drop the database. So it's kind of a revision of how we create the database, how we create a table in the database, how we delete the database. So let's see. So first is create a database company. So the command for it is, first we give create and then we give database and then we provide the database name, that is company. Now the second is create a table employee inside that particular company database. Now in the SQL server there are multiple databases. Consider this is DB1, this is DB2. So we need to tell the SQL server that I want to create a table in this DB1. So for that we use this particular command use and then we provide the database name. So it tells the server to create the table inside this particular DB, that is company. Now let's see how we can create the table. So we give create table followed by the table name and then we provide all the columns which would be present inside our table. So these are the columns name. After the column name we provide the data type of these particular columns, like employee ID would be holding integer values, first name will be holding varchar, that is character values, last name would be holding varchar, that is character values. Now in the third place we provide the integrity constraints if there are any. So here we have provided that employee ID is acting as a primary key. Here we haven't provided anything and here also we haven't provided anything. So we basically provide the column name, the data type and then the integrity constraint. Now the third is delete the database company. Now we have to delete or remove the database from our SQL server. So what we can do is we provide the command drop, which basically means delete, and then we provide database and then we provide the database name, that is company. So in this way we can delete the database from our SQL server. Now let's see the next question. So we have to write the SQL query to first create a table employee, second insert data into the table employee, third update the salary for all the people in HR department to 20,000, and fourth delete the data for employee having employee ID as 1, fifth delete the entire table. So there are 5 things which we have to do as part of this question. So let's start with the first. So we have to create a table employee. So again we'll give the command create table followed by the table name, that is employee. Then we'll provide all the columns. So here it is employee ID, employee name, employee department and employee salary. Then we'll provide the data type. So employee ID will be holding integer values, employee name would be holding string or character values, department will be holding character values and salary would be holding integer values. Then we provide if there are any integrity constraint. So here we are saying that employee ID is a primary key, which basically means that employee ID will always hold unique as well as non-null values. So this is the way how we create a table. Now the second is we have to insert the data into the table. So we have created a table. Now the next step is we have to insert the data into the table. So let's see how we can insert data into the table employee. So we give the command insert and then we provide into and then we provide the table name, that is employee. If you want the data to be inserted in the same order, you don't need to provide the order in which you want the data to be stored. But if there is a different order, like first you want to store employee ID and then you want to store the value of department followed by name, then you need to provide the order. So this is an optional thing. If you want the entire data set to be stored in this particular manner, you don't need to provide it, but it's better to provide because eventually we would be knowing that if employee ID is at the first place, so we have to give a integer value. If name is at the second place, we have to give a character value followed by department and salary. So here we provide all the columns in which manner we want our data to be inserted. So the first data would be inserted in employee ID, the second in name, the third in department and the fourth in salary. So again we provide values to provide the values which we need to insert in these particular columns, and then we provide the value. So now 1 is inserted in employee ID, Reeti is inserted in name, IT is inserted in department and 30,000 is inserted in salary. In the same way we provide for the second value, that is 2, Rahul, HR and 15,000. So in this way we have inserted values in our table. Now the third is we have to update the salary for all the people in HR department to 20,000. Now we have created a table, we have inserted data into this particular table. Now we need to find a department having the name as HR And corresponding to this particular department, we have to find the salary column, and we have to update the salary everywhere we find the department as HR. So what we do is we provide this update command, and then we provide the table name, and then we give this set. So set basically means go ahead and set this particular value. So it will set the value, and we have to set salary as 20,000, and then we provide the condition that where you want to set the salary as 20,000. So we provide where, and then we provide the column name in which we want to set it, and then we provide it as HR. So update the employee table, set the salary as 20,000 where department is equal to HR. That is what our question was, update salary for all people in HR department to 20,000. Now the fourth is delete the data for employee having employee ID as 1. So we have to delete the data for our employee who is having employee ID as 1. So what we have to do is we have to give this delete command, then we have to provide from, and then we have to provide the table name, that is employee, and then we have to provide the condition like where you want to delete this data. So where employee ID is equal to 1. If you only provide this, it will go ahead and delete the entire set of data which is present in the employee table. But when we provide the condition, it will go ahead and find the employee ID 1, and it will go ahead and delete this particular row from our table. Now the fifth query is we have to delete the entire table. So for deleting the entire table, again we use the drop command. So we use drop table followed by the table name, that is employee. If we want to delete a database, we use drop database followed by the database name. Now consider that you don't want to delete the table, you just want to delete the entire set of data which is present in our table. So for that you can use delete from employee, which I told in the last slide as well, that if you use only this particular command, it will go ahead and delete the entire data set. It won't delete the table, but now your table won't be having any data. Now let's see the next question. So we have to write a query to find the total number of employees working in the IT department. So we have been provided with a table. We have to find the total number of employees who are working in the IT department. From here you can see that we can tell there are 2 employees who are working in IT department, but in real life the database is very huge. So we need to write a query to find the total number of employees who are working in the IT department. Now to find the number of employees or the total, or you can say count, we use a aggregate function, that is count. So count is a SQL aggregate function that returns the total number of rows in a specified table or query. So count, what it does, it counts all the rows which is present in our table. So if I do a count star, it will go ahead and count the entire set of rows which is present in our table. So it will tell me that there are 5 rows which are present in our table. Now it counts all the row regardless of whether they contain null values or not. Even if there are any null values present in one more row which is having only null values, it will go ahead and count that as well. So it's not like it will ignore the null values, it will also count the null values. Now using that count star, we can find the total number of employees who are working in IT department. So let's see. So what we will do is first we will select the table. So we have given select. Now we need to provide count star, which will go ahead and count the number of rows which is present in table. So right now it is 5. So it will count 5, then we give from, and then we provide the table name. So this will give me the result as 5. So right now the count star from employee of this particular table gives me 5 rows. Now we need to find the number of employees who are working in only IT department. Here it is giving me the count of entire rows which is present in my table, but I only want the rows which is having department as ID. So that I'll provide in the condition where department is equal to IT. So whenever I provide this condition, count star will go and then see that which all department is having IT, and it will just count that. So the count star will then return me 2. So here you can see that if I do just a count star for a given table, it will return all the rows. But if I have a specified condition, consider that I want to know for HR department. So I'll replace this department IT with HR. Consider I want to know for marketing. So I'll just replace it, and it will give me the count of all the employees who are working in the HR department, marketing department, or IT department. Now the next question is write a query to find all the employees that have their name starting from R. So we have to find all the employees who are present in my table who have their name starting from R. So here we can see that there are 2 people who are having names starting with R, that is Rahul and Raj. But in real life the databases are so huge and there are a lot of set of data which is present. So we oftenly write a query to fetch our given condition. Now here the condition is the name should start from R. So do you remember about that like operator? So like operator help us to return any pattern or any matching values. So like, it is used to search for a specified pattern in a column. If you want a pattern like name starts with R but ends with T, So for these particular type of patterns, we use this like operator. Now like operator is oftenly used with percentage and underscore for searching patterns. So let's see. So here we have to find all the employees who have their name starting with R. So what we will do is, first we will select the entire table, then we will give from. Here asterisk means select all the rows, and then we provide the table name, that is employee, then we give where, and then we provide this column name, on which column we want to provide this like operator, that is name, and then we provide this like operator, so that is R followed by percentage. Now what this query says is, go ahead in this employee table, fetch all the columns, all the rows, and there is a condition that go to the column name and find the name who is having R as the starting character, but this percentage says that the rest of characters can be anything. Consider if you want to find people who are having RI in their first name, so we'll give RI followed by percentage. So it basically says that RI should be the first or second character and rest of the characters can be anything. So basically it makes a pattern for us, and we have to go in our table and find for this particular pattern where I get RI in the first name, and it will go ahead and search in the entire table. Now let's see some scenarios where we can use the like operator. So consider that I want to find the name which starts with A. So I'll give like A and followed by percentage, which means that after A there could be any set of characters, can have any values. Then the next we have to find the name that contains RA inside it. So we have given two characters that should be contained in any name. So at the first there could be any characters, at the last also there could be any characters, but the name should be having RA inside it. So we will give like percent, which makes that there should be n number of characters before RA, then percentage, which says there should be n number of characters after RA, and then we give this RA. Now here I have said that there could be n number of characters, but what if I want only limited set of characters, or what if I only say that my name has only 5 characters, or search for a name who is having only 5 characters and having R at the start or R at the end. So that type of question we can also deal using the like operator. Let's see the next pattern where we have to find the name which starts with A and have exactly 5 characters in the name. So there should be only 5 characters in the name and the name should start with A. We have to find this particular pattern. So for finding this we would be using this underscore, which basically matches the number of pattern. So ampersand says there could be n number of characters, but this underscore says that there should be only one character which is present if I have given an underscore. So I'll just give like A and then I'll provide 4 underscore because it says that the name should start with A and the name should only have 5 characters. So in this way I can find the name. So I guess there is a small typo here. It should be A followed by 4 underscore, which matches the criteria that the name should start with A and have exactly 5 characters. So let's see the next pattern where name has A as the second character. So I have to find the name of all the person or all the employees who have A as the second character in their name. So let's see. So if I just give a underscore, it will consider one character. So I can say underscore A. So it will tell that go ahead and find all the names who is having first character as anything but second character as A, and then there should be n number of character. So it would be like, then followed by underscore for first character, then A for the second character, and percentage for the rest of the characters. So let's see the next question. We have to write a query to find the unique salaries in the employee table. So we have to find all the unique, or you can say distinct salaries in the employee table. For this we would be using the distinct keyword. So distinct keyword is used to retrieve unique records from a table, and we have to find the unique salary. So we'll give select and then we will give distinct followed by the column name on which we want the distinct value, and then we will give from and then we'll provide the table name. So this will give me distinct salary from this particular salary column. Now the next question is write a query to find the second highest salary in a table. So we know the query to find the first highest salary, that is select max salary and then we give from and then we give the table name, that is employee. So here max is an aggregate function which works on a column and gives the maximum value of that particular column or attribute. Now this particular select max salary from employee will give me the maximum salary which is present here. So let's see what is the maximum salary. So that is 2500. But we need to find the second highest salary. Now the second highest salary here is 2400, not 2500. So how we will find the second highest salary? What we can do is, we know the first highest salary from this particular query. So we will will again write a query and we'll say where max salary is not equal to 2500. Then it will give me 2400. So is it sounding confusing? Don't worry, let's see the query first. So what we will do is first we'll write select max salary from employee where salary not equal to, and then we have written a subquery. So first this particular subquery would be executed. So what is the subquery? Select max salary from employee. Now what is the max salary here? That is 2500. So this is our query after executing the subquery. Now we have to find the max salary from employee where salary, this means not equal to. So not equal to 2500. So we have to find the maximum salary here which salary is not equal to 2500. So let's discard this 2500 from here and let's find the maximum salary. This is 2400 and 2400 is not equal to 2500. So we can say the second highest salary is the one in which we exclude the first highest salary. So in this way we can get the second highest salary. So max gives us the aggregated max value from a column. Now let's see a query to find the nth highest salary in a given table. So we know how to find the first highest salary, we know how to find the second highest salary, but we have to find the nth highest salary where n can be any natural number 1, 2, 3, 4, any natural number till n. Now if we want to find the third highest salary, we would be then finding the second highest salary, the first highest salary, and we would be excluding it from the third highest salary. So that is not a suggested way. So that is why we need to make a query where we can only give the value of n and we can get the nth highest salary. Consider if value of n is 5, we can get the fifth highest salary. So for that what we will do is, first let's discuss about order by and limit clause. So order by clause is basically used to order the column either in descending or ascending order, and limit clause given by m and n, it helps to retrieve a specific range of rows. So if we want a specific range of rows, we use limit m comma n. Now here m is the number of rows which we need to skip from the beginning. So consider if m is given as 2. So we need to skip 2 rows from the beginning, and n is the number of rows we want to fetch after skipping. So after skipping these 2 rows, what are the number of rows which we want to fetch? So consider I want to fetch 3 and 4. So I can give the value of m as 2 and n as 2. So it will skip 2 rows and it will give me 27, 25. Now consider if I give the value of n as 1. So it will only give me 27. So in this way this m and n works. Now let's see the query. So first what we do is we select the salary. Now here we have provided distinct because we need to find the fifth highest salary, but there could be a possibility that 1200 is twice, 1500 is twice. So we need to find the distinct salary, and among that distinct, or you can say unique salary, we need to find the nth highest salary. Consider first, second or third highest salary. So we have used a distinct for this column salary, so it will distinct the values or it will give me unique values of salary. Then we provide from, and then we provide the table name, sorry it would be employee here. And then we give this order by clause, and then we give the column name on which we want to order the value. So order by basically orders the salary in ascending or descending order. So we need to find the highest. So we will be ordering it in descending order, which basically means order the salary in descending order. So what we will do is first we will get the distinct salary. So let's take the distinct salary. That would be 1500, 2000, 2500, 2400, and again 1500 is repeated twice and we are taking the distinct salary. So these would be the salaries. Now what we have to do is we have order by in descending order. So what we will do is we will order this in descending order. That would be 2500, 2400, 2000 and 1500. Now what we need to do is consider that if I want this particular salary, that is the second highest salary. So for this, if I want to put a limit, what I'll do is I'll skip one row from the starting and then I'll get the first row after skipping. So the value of m would be 1 and n would be 1. Consider if I want the third highest salary, so the value of m would be 2 because I need to skip 2 rows from the beginning, and the value of n would be n. So if you see, the value of m is always n minus 1. So that is 3 minus 1, that is 2. So whatever is the value of n, we are just subtracting 1 from that. So we can say the value of m would be n minus 1, and the value of n, we always want only one row, so that would be 1. So it will be limit n minus 1, that is the value of n, n1 is the value of n. So in this way we can get the nth highest salary. You can like use this query for any of the highest salary, 6, 7, 8, any of the nth highest salary. Now let's see the next question. We have to write a query to find the top 2 highest salaries from a given table. So we have to only find the top 2 highest salaries. So how we can do that? First we have this salary column, and in the last slide you learned that we can use this order by clause to get the maximum salary at the first. So we'll use the order by clause on this salary column. It will order all the values according to the descending order, consider 1, 2, 3, and now we need to fetch 1 and 2 from this particular list. So what we can do is we can give select salary, and then we can provide the table name from employee, and then we can order the salary in the descending order, basically the column name and then the order in which we want to order, and then here we can give limit m and n. So m is the number of rows which we are skipping, but here we want to find the top 2, so we are skipping nothing, so we can give it 0 or we can just ignore it, and we need the value of n, that after skipping what are the rows which you want. So we want 2 rows, so we can give limit 2. So in this way we can find the top 2 highest salary in a given table. Now let's see the next question. So next question is write a query to calculate the total salary and average salary in a department. So we learnt about aggregate function and how it works on an aggregated set of value. So we can use the aggregate function sum here and average here to find the total salary and the average salary. So sum, if applied on this particular salary column, so it will just calculate 1500 plus 2000 plus 2500 plus 2400 plus 1500, and it will give me the sum or the total salary. And if I do the average, it will just perform an average here and it will give me the average value. So sum and average both will be giving me only one value because it is working on an aggregated set of data. So now here I want to find the department's total salary and average salary, and here you can see that there are multiple departments: IT department, HR department, marketing and finance. So we need to group these particular departments as well. So let's see the query for the same. So what we will do is we will select the department and we need to find the total and average salary. So we'll be giving sum, salary and average salary, and here we are using an alias. So alias is basically an alternate name. So it will just do the total of salary and it will give an alternate column total salary where we would be having the result of this total salary, consider X, and in the same way it will provide an alternate column in the result and it will give me the average salary. But these columns are not created, it's just an alternate, or you can say a temporary column. So I'll get department, I'll get the average salary, I'll get the total salary, but now I want each department total and each department average. So I'll be using this group by clause. Group by will group all the department accordingly, so it will group IT, HR, finance, marketing into subgroups, and for that particular groups we will get the average salary and we'll get the total salary. Again for finance we'll get the average salary and the total salary. So consider if there is a column order in which we have Kurkure, Dairy Milk and Maggie, and we want to know that what is the total amount of all the sales which has happened for Kurkure, for Maggie and for Dairy Milk. So what we can do is we can group them accordingly and then we can find the total sales and then the average sales for them. So in this way we find the total salary and average salary for a particular department. So the next question is write a query to find the rows where a department has null values. So if we don't provide any value for a department for a particular record, or you can say for a particular data entry, it fills a null value there if we don't provide a not null constraint. So we need to find all the rows where a particular column, or you can say department, has null values. So there is an operator called as isNull which we can use. So we'll give select and then we need to find all the columns. So we'll give star from and then we provide the table name, that is employee. Then we'll provide the condition where the column name, here it is department, and then we provide this is null. So basically what it does, it goes in the department and it finds if there is any null value present here or not. If there is any null value found in any row, it will go ahead and return that particular row in the final result and all the details of that particular row. So let's see the next question. We have to write a query to find the duplicate rows in employee for the given column department. So this is my employee table. In this particular employee table, I have to go to this particular column department and I have to see that which all department is having duplicacy. So here if you see, the department is IT here and here as well. So can we say that there is a duplicacy for department column in these two IDs 1 and 3? Yes, we can say. Now coming to HR, so HR is not getting duplicated anywhere, marketing it's not, finance it's not. But again, it's a small table, but there could be a huge table or huge data sets. So for that we have to write a query. Now what we can do here is, first we need to find all the departments according to their group. So we need to find that if there is any duplicacy in IT department, in HR department, in marketing department, and in finance department. So we need to find according to the departments if there is any duplicacy or not. So what we will do is we will apply a group by clause on our department column so that it groups the data accordingly. Now we need to find that if these particular groups are having the count greater than 1. If they are having the count greater than 1, it means that there are some duplicate values which are present. If I say that IT department is having only the count as 1, so IT department is only present one time. If I said if IT department is having the count as 2, so IT department is getting duplicated, and that is what we have to find, the duplicate rows. So wherever count is greater than 1, we can say that there is a duplicacy. Now how can we find this particular count? So we can use this count star. Now using this count star, it basically counts all the rows which is present in our table. So right now count star for this particular table can give me the value as 5, but I only want the count for the department. So consider if I give a condition where department is equal to IT, so it will only count the rows who are having the department as IT. So if I count, it is 1 and 2, so then the count star will be giving me 2. But here I want for all the groups of department, for IT, HR, marketing and finance. So what I'll do is I'll apply this count star on this particular group, and then I'll check that whenever the group is having the count greater than 1, then we can say that there is a duplicacy. So the query is select, then we need to select the department on which we are applying the group by, then we give the count star, and then we provide from, and then the table name, and then we provide the group by clause which will group the department according to HR, marketing, finance and IT, and then we provide a condition having. So having we have used here because we have used the aggregated function. So having count star greater than 1, so we'll just find the count star for each. Consider for HR it's 1, for marketing it's 1, for finance it's 1, and for IT it's 2. The count star is 1, 1, 1 and 2 for them, and now I need to find that wherever count star is greater than 1, there is a duplicacy. So we can say that IT department has a duplicacy. Now if you are not understanding about all these things, I'll really suggest you that go ahead and watch a comprehensive one-shot tutorial which is uploaded on my YouTube channel, so that at least you get clear on these terms, and then you can come to this video to practice some questions. So now let's jump to some theoretical question. So first question is, what is SQL? Now SQL stands for Standard Query Language. It is a standard language which is used for managing and manipulating our databases. So whenever we need to do any manipulation, like any CRUD operations in our database. So what is CRUD operation? CRUD operation is basically creating, reading, updating and deleting. So whenever we need to perform any CRUD operations in our database, we use SQL. Now the second question is, what is the difference between delete and truncate? So delete removes the rows from the table based on a condition, but truncate remove all the rows from a table. So if we want to remove a specific row from a table, we use this delete command, but if we want to remove the entire data set which is present in our table, we use the truncate command. Now delete can be rolled back because it contains all the logs, but truncate can't be rolled back because it doesn't log the individual rows and it can't be rolled back. Now the next question is, what is union and union all? So union combines the result of two queries and remove the duplicate rows. So whenever we perform union between two tables A and B, so it will just remove the duplicate rows which is present, and it will give me this particular data and this particular data. Whereas union all combines the result of two queries and include all duplicates. So if there are two queries A and B, it will give me the result of A, it will give me the result of B, and it will also include the duplicacy which is present between them. So union combine the result of two queries and remove the duplicate rows, whereas union all combines the result of queries and give the duplicate rows as well. Now next question is, what is store procedure? So a store procedure is prepared SQL code that you can save and reuse. So whenever we create a procedure, we can use it anywhere in our SQL queries, so that we don't need to type a same query again and again. Consider if I want to find the max salary of a person in many of the queries. So I'll just create a store procedure and I'll will be using that stored procedure in number of queries, so that we can save it and we can reuse it as well. Now coming to the next question, what is the difference between char and varchar? So char is used whenever we have a data of fixed length. So if I know that name would only be having 5 characters, like all the names which is inserted in our employee table would be only having 5 characters, then I can use char and I can give 5. But when I know that they should be having a variable length, consider email of a person can be having variable length. Some can have 50 characters in the email, but some can have 100 characters also in the email. So for that use case we use varchar, which is used when we have data with variable length. So even if I am giving varchar, and consider if I am giving 20, if my email is having 22 characters, it will just extend itself. So it's a dynamic way of storage, and you can say that char is a static way of storage. Now coming to the next question, that is explain the types of joins in SQL. So the very first join is inner join. So what inner join says, that if there are two sets A and B, or you can say two table A and B, it returns all the records that have matching values in both the tables. So the matching values lies here, consider I am naming it as C. So inner join returns me all the matching values which is present in A as well as B. So it will return me C. Now coming to left outer join. So left outer join returns all the records from the left table and the match records from the right table. So it will return all the records which is present in the left table, that is A, and it will return the match records from the left as well as right table, that is C. Now coming to right outer join. So it returns all the records from the right table and the matched records from the left table. So it will return all the records from the right table and then the matched records of the left and right table. So that is B plus C. Now coming to full outer join, so it returns all the records when there is a match either in left or in the right table. So it will return all the records if there is any match between the left or the right table. So it will give me records from this left table, the right table, and then the records which are matching between them, that is A plus B plus C. Now coming to cross join, so it returns the Cartesian product of two tables. So whenever we are performing a cross product between two tables, that is all the elements of table 1 is getting cross product with all the elements of table 2, that is table B, then we say it as cross join. And coming to self join, so self join is a join where a table is joined with itself. So whenever we are performing join between two tables who are having the same data set, we can say that this is a self join. Now coming to next question, what is null in SQL? So null in SQL is basically used whenever we want to encounter or whenever we want to save any null values. So it is used to handle null values in SQL. Now coming to next question, what is a foreign key? So foreign key is a key that helps in establishing a relationship between two tables. So if there are two tables A and B, so foreign key help us to establish relationship between two tables, and foreign key is a key which take reference from the primary key in the base table. So you can say that foreign key help us to establish a relationship, and foreign key also take reference from the primary key in the base table. So it uniquely identifies a row of another table. So foreign key is a key which takes reference from the base table. So it is also called it as referencing table, and the table from which it is taking reference is called as reference table, or you can say base table. And foreign key in a given table can also act as a primary key, can also not act as a primary key. So it is not important for a foreign key to act as a primary key for another table. It just takes references from primary key of table A and it establishes a relationship between two tables. Now what is primary key? So a primary key is a unique identifier, or you can say a unique key which uniquely identifies records, or you can say rows in a given table. So if we have different rows in a given table and if we want a unique identifier that can help me uniquely identify record in a table, so that is a primary key. So we can say a primary key is a unique identifier or key which uniquely identifies all records in a given table or in a given relation. Now there are two constraints for a key to be a primary key, that it should always be unique. So there shouldn't be any duplicate values here, and it should always have not null values. So there couldn't be any null values here. So if we are declaring any attribute as primary key, it should always be unique, it should always be not null, and it should uniquely identify all the records or all the rows in our table. Now the next question is, what is the difference between where and having clause? So where is used to filter records before any groupings are made. So consider if we are grouping anything, if we are grouping the department into IT, HR, and we want to know that for that particular groups, what are the total employees, what is the total salary. So before grouping the data, if we want to filter the data, we use the where clause. But if we are grouping the data and if we want to perform some filter or some condition, we use the having clause. So having clause is used to filter records after groupings are made. Or you can say basically whenever we are using aggregate function like group by, we can use this having clause. So having clause is used after grouping the data and where clause is used before grouping the data, and both are used for filtration, or you can say providing some condition. Now coming to next question, what is views in SQL? So views are a kind of virtual table in SQL. So whenever we are creating a virtual table for security purpose, consider that there is a huge table of employee and I want to create ID card for these particular employees. But do the people who are making ID card needs to know that what is the salary of this particular employee? No. So these are some data which needs to be remained with us only. So we will just provide a view of this particular table who would be having a new table, or you can say a virtual table, which would be only having employee name and employee ID, which would be required by the department who are making ID cards. So we are just hiding some of the details which is unnecessary or which is like secure, which doesn't needs to be known by the department who are making the ID cards. So views are a virtual table in SQL. Now what is default constraint? So whenever we want to provide any default value for a given column, we use this default constraint. So whenever we need to fill a column with default, or you can say fixed values, we use default. Like set the default salary as 0 where age is null. So it should be salary is null. So whenever I'm not entering any value for this salary column and wherever salary is getting as null, we will set the default value as 0. So salary won't be having any null values. If there is any null values, or if we are not entering data for that particular field, or you can say that particular record, we can set the value as 0 for them. Now next question is, what is an alias command in SQL? So alias are temporary names which are given to a table or column which is just a temporary change, that is table name does not change in the original database. Consider if I am having a salary column in my employee table which is having some records and I need to find the total salary of all the employees. So for that we can use an alternate name while calculating the total salary. So we can use sum of salary to calculate the total salary, and then I can use an alias and then I can provide it as total salary. So if I use this in my final result, I'll be getting only one table which would be having only one column, that is total salary, and it will be having the total salary which I have calculated from here, consider X. So this is just an alternate name. There is no changes to the database, no changes to the table name. It's just an alternate name, you can say a temporary name which we are giving for any calculation which we are providing in any of our columns or set of columns. So this was all about top SQL questions which are often asked in interview. I hope you like this video, and if you have any confusion with anything, I'll suggest you just go ahead and watch that comprehensive one-shot tutorial of SQL, because if you watch that and come to this video, it will be very clear to all of you that what all things are being done here. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're someone who is new to my channel, can go ahead and watch out the tech content first, and if you find it useful, can go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you have not followed me on my social media handles, you can go ahead and follow. The links are in the description. Till then, take care. Keep learning, keep growing, keep smiling. Bye all.